Hello. I don't know. I don't know what to say. I think I wanted to talk about the world. About all the false ways in this world. All the people who are doing these false ways. One of them is greed. One of them is discompassion, uncompassion, non-empathy, hatred, wanting to destroy people for what they believe. Not being willing to support somebody due to what they believe. Not appreciating the hard work of somebody in anything they do based on what they believe. That's a real problem. The whole world is suffering because of this. Why? Because it's turning them into these dark creatures, basically. These beings of evil, of no remorse, no empathy, no feeling bad for your fellow human being, even if you're the one helping to cause it. Even if you're the one causing suffering, active suffering in that human, you'll never recognize the suffering that you're causing in that human. And you'll deny that they're contributing anything to this world. You'll just laugh at everything they say or do because you're wicked, you're evil. You don't have the Spirit of God inside of you. You don't have the knowledge of God. You don't have the love for your neighbor like you should. You're a twisted, evil, reprobate human being who's been twisted by this evil, reprobate world of twisted, evil, reprobate human beings. So I guess you can say it's not your fault, but technically you are complicit. So the greed factor is a huge thing. I mean, it really ties into it so much. Because it all goes back to love thy neighbor, and if you truly loved thy neighbor, you wouldn't walk by a homeless person on the street when you have millions of dollars and just ignore them. And sure, a lot of people give $10 here and there, and that's great. If you do that, good for you. You're moving a step in the right direction. But think of all the more good you could do with all the money and power and influence you have. Could you help that person in their career in any way? Possibly. And would you help them if you could, even if they were a Christian? Even if they were a devout Christian? Well, your opinion on Christianity, from everybody you hear and everybody around you, and that's pretty much all it's based on, your opinion of Christianity is that it's only all the bad things that anybody has ever attributed to Christianity. So any bad thing that anybody who claimed to be a Christian did, that's what you assume is real Christianity. See, this is the atheist mindset, They don't go outside and think, wow, look at the beauty of all of this intelligent design that God created to prove that he exists, which is exactly what we experience when we walk outside. No, they don't think that. When they eat a delicious meal, they don't think, wow, thank God for this meal, and even me being able to eat it, and for all the deliciousness that's contained within it. They don't think that. They're not appreciative of anything. They think they feel like they're entitled to all that stuff, and that's all a meaningless thing that they can spend all their day mocking Christians, the people who believe in the one who created all the things that they enjoy. They feel like they're entitled to do that, because they're just so certain that Christians are wrong. They've just assumed in their minds, and they've decided, because it's based on what they call science. And there's been lifetimes of people who have dedicated their entire lives to creating theories that will allow people to feel comfortable in them rejecting God. And they'll even have the mathematical equations add up to where everything will equate. But the question is, what does that final answer mean? does it actually apply to reality? So maybe the equation worked out, but does it apply to reality? No. So, again, this ties back into greed and the love thy neighbor thing. It kind of all ties in together. It says, for the love of money is the root of all evil, which while some have coveted after they have erred from the faith and have pierced themselves through with many sorrows. Through the love of money, a lot of this evil gets perpetrated. They don't want to be rejected because they love money. So they'll choose to be a wicked, evil person. I think it was Tim Pool who said, it's easier being in the mob than being the target of the mob. I really like that quote. So that whole social dynamic, their riches are dependent on their spiritual alignment and the fact that they don't love their neighbor and that they are willing to walk by a homeless person, no matter how much hope they have of getting off the streets, and they'll never help them. It doesn't matter. Like, literally, I know this from firsthand experience because I was on the street playing music for 2 years in New York as a homeless person, getting just little tips here and there. And some subscribers on YouTube, which I'm grateful for, I'm not trying to sound ungrateful, but at the same time, I know what's going on. Like, you'll support your own kind, and it is unfair, and it's not like my music was not a good contribution to the city. Like, that's why I made tip money while I was in New York, even with all these ungodly people who literally hated me and everything I stand for. They still tip me when I played the music and show them, well, maybe I'm not all bad. Literally people who will never believe in God their entire lives tipping me $10s and $20 bills. I mean, I hope they convert. I sure do. But I'm just being a realist. Like, I know that most people are like you. If you're an atheist watching this video, I know most people are willing to sell their soul to the devil. They're willing to sell their friend down the river because they're Christian, just so they don't get sold down the river. That's pretty much all it is. They're selling their souls for the love of money. It pretty much is that. They want social acceptance, and the only way they get social acceptance is by not being a Christian. It's been going on like this for many, many years. And you can't see this dynamic unless you become a Christian. So, the people are just so happy in their success, and they don't want any idea that could possibly threaten their success, because literally the idea of Christianity threatens their success, because if they were to believe that idea, then their success would be threatened. So they are literally threatened by our belief, because they know that the machine that they've created for ostracizing anybody who doesn't agree with them, they'll call you a bigot, and they'll say you're forcing your beliefs upon them. They'll say you're forcing your beliefs upon them by believing what you believe. Meanwhile, they're the ones who go out of their way to comment on what you posted and to laugh, react. Oh, the hypocrisy of it all. The hypocrisy of it all. This is why I can't wait to preach in real life again. Why I'm happy to do this video right now, because you can't really cancel me right now. I am preaching. I am preaching the truth about this world. And yes, my main focus is Jesus. If you've heard any of my other sermons, you'll hear me preach about Jesus. Trust me, Jesus is the Savior. It's faith in Him and His blood, death, burial, and resurrection that saves us. We stand on the doctrine Paul preaches in Romans through Philemon. I try to cover that in every video. But 1 Timothy 6:10 is also a verse in the Bible when it says, for the love of money is the root of all evil. So, if only people could wake up to some of these biblical truths, maybe they would see that the Bible is really true, and that what they're doing really is wrong, and they're really on the wrong side of history, the wrong side of eternity. They're not morally in the right. They're morally in the wrong. They're using their free speech to suppress someone else's free speech. There's even, in the Constitution and in the Bill of Rights, there's stipulations for religion. Freedom of religion. So, people need to see their own hypocrisy. They need to wake up to their own false ways, because the world is suffering because of it. The world becomes so much better if everybody just woke up.